Hi guys, welcome back to another video. In today's video we're going to have some Division 18 ranked online gameplay and I believe Division 20 online ranked gameplay, so two separate gameplay clips for you today in the light heavyweight division using none other than Glover Teixeira. And I've used him before many times on my channel. I think he's an extremely good light heavyweight, but the reason obviously for showcasing him today is because he's going to be fighting Jan for the title in 2 days from now. And it might be his last fight, obviously just turning, I believe he turned 42, and I'm hoping he can get the belt. It would just be nice for him to see off his chapter in the UFC by getting the belt. Love Jan as well, think he's a great guy, but I have a soft spot for my Brazilian fighters, and Glover Teixeira is just such a stand-up guy, has been throughout his whole career. It would be extremely great to see him get the title, especially as he's evolved throughout his career, obviously known for his brilliant jiu-jitsu and then worked on his boxing and his wrestling, teammates with Chuck Liddell. And I think it's sort of a hidden gem how good he is, especially how he's bounced back from certain losses like the Alexander Gustafsson loss in I think that was actually in Sweden when he lost that one, and that fight was crazy. But if he doesn't get the title, it's still been a phenomenal fight throughout his career. Always fought the world's best. And it just goes to show you that the light heavyweight belt obviously was incredibly hard to get because John Jones was around and DC was around. And if Glover Teixeira falls short, then he's going to be joining the list of someone like Alexander Gustafsson, who's of course world class, but just never was able to get that belt. But nonetheless, get into the actual gameplay here now. We're coming up against a very formidable opponent, very good. His name's Scouten. He's a subscriber, a few games with him already on the channel. We match up quite a lot on ranked, and it's always extremely fun when it comes to playing Scout online. Very technical striker, and as you can see, he's using none other than Israel Adesanya. And Izzy's so hard to come up against, obviously. In the light heavyweight division, he's not as good as he is in middleweight, of course. And that's where he is the king. So coming up against Izzy, I know that I've got to be careful. Izzy's long and rangy. And with Glover, you don't want to take too many strikes, but one thing he has is super clean boxing. Obviously, we know how good he is on the ground, but when I use him, just because of the power he has, I do like to keep it on the feet unless I do feel like I have to go to the ground. And right now, coming up against Izzy, my tactic is to take out that lead leg, and this goes for any fight. I always look to take out the lead leg, but with Izzy, really going to look to take out the lead leg. And as you can see there, the power in his hands is really shine through. Obviously it's the first round and we've already got a stun. Shows we're doing good work and decreasing my opponent's head health here, and I'm trying to remain calm. And he's so well rounded and versatile as he is in real life. I mean, phenomenal cardio, great wrestling, brilliant on the ground, so there's nowhere the fight goes that you won't truly feel comfortable using Glover Teixeira. And as you can see, stamina's in a decent level. Obviously we're taking a few body kicks, good sway there. And I'm just trying to remain calm. So I tried to sneak in that head kick, didn't work. And it's been a fairly even round. Obviously it's more of a feeling out process. You've got to see how the fight's going to go. Look to pick up little combinations and patterns that your opponent is throwing. But whenever we're in the pocket, I feel like I'm getting the better of these exchanges. And that might just be because there is a big power difference. Obviously Izzy will have the speed advantage going into these boxing exchanges and kickboxing exchanges. However, all it takes is going to be him to sway one wrong way, get caught with a hook, and the power from Glover is really going to transfer. So when I use him, like I said, if I need to take the fight to the ground, I will, because you can just mix things up extremely well. But for the time being, I felt more than comfortable on my feet. As you can see, that was the stats of the round there. Could go either way, but I'm edging it a bit towards myself for that round. And coming into round two, we're just going to look to do more of the same. We're going to look to build off the foundations we've set in round one. As you can see, I'm checking these leg kicks, which when you're coming up against a very good Izzy, they will throw quite a large abundance of leg kicks, because you know it's exactly what he does in real life. And taking out the lead leg, although I know there's some YouTubers that don't really express how good leg kicks are, because yes, they should be better. However, they are still a very good tool you can utilise. I know I've watched a few of Proxy's videos, and he always talks about how he doesn't like going for the leg kicks, doesn't feel like they don't do enough. But I'm a big believer in them working. As you can see throughout my fights, that they do work. And focusing back on the fight, as you see, like I said, when the hook lands, it's going to be a stun. And my opponent was throwing off amazing combinations there, oblique kick into the heel kick, and really mixing and chaining things up well, landing one hook. And just because of the power difference, you can really see that my opponent's having a hard time here. And even though my opponent's doing an excellent job with pressing, Glover's health stats are very, very good. So whenever he's going to my body, as you can see, he's not draining my health too much. My stamina's in a great position. And we're just doing a solid job this round, and that's where the leg kicks are starting to come into play. As you can see, not only am I giving out leg kicks, I'm also checking them. And now that leg's gone. That leg's completely gone, and he's had to switch stance. And when he throws leg kicks next, as long as I check it, it should be another leg health event. We sidestep there. And this round here has been extremely dominant. We're working the body here, trap my opponent against the cage, and he's doing a good job of circling away. But when your opponent is against the cage and they start circling, throw a body shot, a hook or a leg kick, they circle that way, it's going to do a huge amount of damage. And as you can see, I'm not neglecting any part of Glover's game here. I'm really trying to mix in the kicks, which his kicking game isn't the best, admittedly. That's probably the one area where it isn't the greatest, but you can still do damage with it. As you can see, I've been going to the body, I've been going to the leg. We get the knockdown here, and this is an extremely good round for me. And as you can see, my opponent's having difficulty. Obviously, he switched back to the stance where the leg was hurt, and immediately I recognised it and shot straight for a leg kick. And there's small things like that you've got to take note of. You've got to take note of, right, he switched stance. When he switches back to it, immediately attack that leg. Let your opponent know that you haven't forgot that leg's there. And right now, Izzy isn't in the best place. I know his body health isn't the greatest. Head health definitely isn't the greatest after taking several stuns. And his leg health also isn't in the best position. And now we're starting to work on the other leg. But like I was saying, even though Glover's kicks aren't the greatest, you can still easily implement them into your game. Obviously, you're not going to want to adopt a leg attack heavy approach. Of course, you're going to want to look to lead with your boxing, hooks, uppercuts, jabs, and wrestle. However, in MMA, you can't just simply utilize those things. You have to mix it all in together. So if you're looking to grapple, you're going to want to strike in order to chain that grappling into it. So you want to throw combinations which get you close, and then you can shoot for a takedown. And I use leg kicks either to finish a combo, or start a combination, or get my opponent as they're rotating away. And I do it for several reasons, but the main reason being it mitigates my opponent's power, also hinders their movement. And that's two things that play very well in a 5-round fight, because if they've got no legs, it will be an easy leg health event. If they've got no power, it will be harder for them to get knockdowns or stuns, especially when you're coming up against a striker like Izzy. And once their movement isn't in the greatest position, it'll be easier to catch them with something, because your opponent's going to have a harder time of getting away from these shots. And it gives your opponent something to think about. If you're always throwing these leg kicks low into the body, eventually you can throw one that goes high and catch your opponent by surprise. And right now, round 3, we're in a very good position here. Could say we're 2 rounds up. As you can see, my opponent is pressuring more now, mixing in combinations, really going to the body here. And I'm expecting the head kick here and there. I'm just waiting for it. But right now, as you can see, we've done a good job of neutralising my opponent's use of leg kicks, as my opponent was throwing them here and there before. But where we've taken out that leg, my opponent now knows it's going to be hard to throw these leg kicks, because the trailing leg, if he throws it with that's the leg that's quite weak. All I have to do is check it. He's going to be in danger. And as you can see, we're getting these stuns off very easily now. Uppercuts to the body as well. And this is one thing, I don't neglect the body. Even when the head's hurt, I'm always going to mix in the body, because you'll want to be as unpredictable as possible. And you don't want to hurt your opponent's head, and then just look to keep going for the head. And my opponent, great job there of swaying. And I was really looking to thrive off that grappling exchange there. If my opponent did deny it, possibly go for an armbar. But my opponent done a good job of getting out. Movement there from old man Teixeira, that moved away from the teep kick there. And whenever we're in the pocket, just because of the power advantage, you can really feel it. And obviously Izzy isn't the hardest hitter, especially at this weight class. Obviously Izzy's more of a, he's a technician. He clips you with these shots, but he hasn't got that outright power just to stop a fight here. And in the next fight, you will see us come up against the legendary Polish power, because Glover can stand with anyone in this weight class, and he can grapple with anyone in this weight class. The only thing he can't do is kick with a lot of people in this weight class, because this weight class here, you've got other fighters that are extremely good kickers. Obviously, you've got Israel Adesanya, a phenomenal kicking game. John Jones got a great kicking game. You've of course got Alexander Gustafsson, who I've made a video on. But when you compare him to the list of best grapplers in this division, list of best boxers, ticks both boxes. And as you see, shout out to my guy Scouting, saying our respects there. Always tunes into the live streams. Great fighter. And coming up now will be the scorecards. You can see how the judges were scoring the fight up until the finish. But moving on, we're gonna have another gameplay clip for you here. Yeah, as I was saying, I really hope he gets the victory. Even if he doesn't, I hope it's just a good fight. Obviously, these two, they've got a lot of respect for each other, which is nice to see. No trash talking at the press conference, both just seem happy. And, you know, they're both old. I think, well, what's Jan, 38? Glover just turned 42. So they're both old men in this weight class. So they've got tons of experience. It's going to be a very interesting fight. And coming here, you see we're facing opponents beat us before. Both Division 20s, so it's going to be a high-level matchup. And, of course, this fight's going to be extremely different to the easy fight, because the easy fight we did have the power advantage and didn't have to worry too much about certain problems like getting clipped. But when you're coming up against the Jan, that's the main worry, is that power can flick out your lights very quickly. Not only that, it can break your block. And so you've got to be a bit more cautious in approaching fights like this. And as you can see, I'm already trying to work the leg. I'm throwing the hooks because, like I said, Glover's hooks, they feel beautiful. Whenever they land, they just take so much out of your opponent. And the problem is with these heavier weight classes is that one punch can really change anything. It's super realistic. So you could be dominating a fight, get clipped, and your fight's over. And right now you can see that I'm really trying to work the body, and obviously my opponent's picked up on this and started to throw the uppercut after. Whenever someone goes to the body, throw an uppercut, and that's the great way to counter it. My opponent here is going boxing heavy also. Goes for a takedown there, which I wasn't really surprised with. A lot of people do it just to stam and dump. But with Nidex, obviously, when it comes to the ground game here, Glover is at an advantage. And if I felt that I needed to take the fight to the ground, it is something that I was looking to do. But right now, it's just a feeling out process. It's only the first round. We don't need to panic and go for anything. As you can see, both me and my opponent are going for very simple combinations at the moment. I'm not trying to use too much stamina. And we're having a very similar approach to the fight right now. Like I said, we're just feeling each other out. Our combinations are fairly similar. As you can see, they faked low, went high. Beautiful job there. And that's just credit to my opponent. It was a great fake. I didn't expect it this early on in the fight. And yeah, you got the stun off there. But as you can see, I'm keeping relaxed. We're still in this pocket, still exchanging, just because I know how good Glover's power is. And now we get a stun back ourselves. So one stun each right now in round one. Obviously, my opponent's was just a beautiful fake into a head kick. Ours was a beautiful up kick that went right through the guard. And again, these leg kicks, you can see, are really starting to cause my opponent problems. And leg kicks, they're just a way of infuriating your opponent, even if you're using someone that doesn't have the best leg kicks. Like Glover Teixeira isn't going to have the best leg kicks. His kicking game in general isn't going to be the best, but you can utilise it and mix it in within the boxing. Obviously, don't use it as your main attribute. If anything, the main attribute you want to use is boxing and jiu-jitsu, which is something that I believe in both these gameplays I don't have to rely on here. It's mainly stand-up dominant, just to show you how good his stand-up is. Again, he hits me with that fake logo high, and it's something that I've taken note of now, and hopefully in the second round he isn't going to catch me with it again, because it hurt a lot. He's got a lot of power, legendary Polish power, and he gets the stun, so that's 2 stuns to my opponent. Round 1 definitely going to him, and coming into the second I know I need to be wary of that fake, but also in my mind now, where I got the stun to my opponent, I think then I went low and then went to go low again, and my opponent blocked it. So coming into the second round, I know that if I get a stun, if I fake a throw in the middle, then I should be able to sneak in a head kick and hopefully get the finish. And this is something that high level players are doing all the time, is they're making adjustments on the go, and it's what really can change you fights. You need to pick up on these little habits here. As you can see, the lead leg of Jan is already hurt. You can really see the bruising. Good movement there to get away from that punch. And then again, these combinations and then rip into the body at the end really drain on my opponent's stamina. There's the uppercut there. As you see, we fake going low and then went high. in the middle of that combination we catch my opponent with a beautiful high kick. And as I was saying, obviously Glover doesn't have the best head kicks, but when it comes to kicking game, as long as you've got the power there, especially in these divisions and they're already hurt, it's enough to shut off anyone's light. So that was a beautiful finish there. As you can see the replay here, my opponent thought he was going low, bang, straight to the head. Beautiful knockout finish. So that's the video for today, just showing Glover. Obviously we didn't focus too much on his jiu-jitsu and wrestling, which is obviously of course very good. However, it's more just to show you that how good he is on the feet. This is the fight stats here. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.